It's nice to pay your coworkers lunch sometime, but if they do it all the time, it's bad. They say generosity is a virtue, but like most virtues, it gets twisted when people decide to take advantage. I didn't think about that the first time I bought Kyle lunch. It was a Wednesday, one of those dragged out workdays when the office felt heavier than usual. Reports stacked on my desk, my inbox a flood of unread emails. By noon, my head throbbed, my stomach growled, and I knew I needed a break. I asked if anyone wanted to grab food. Kyle, who sat two desks away, perked up. Man, I'd love to, but I forgot my wallet, he said with a half grin. You think you could spot me? I'll pay you back tomorrow. I didn't even hesitate. He seemed like a decent enough guy. Mid-30s, a little younger than me, always cracking jokes in the break room. Sure, I said. No problem. We went to the sandwich shop down the street. I bought him a turkey club and a soda, and we sat together, talking about nothing important. Traffic, the weather, some TV show he liked. He was funny, easy to talk to. Thanks, man, he said when we got back. I'll get you tomorrow. Only tomorrow came, and he didn't. At first, I brushed it off. People forget things. Life gets hectic. I wasn't going to hound him over $8. But then it happened again the following week. Another lunch outing, another forgot my wallet excuse. This time he laughed like it was just bad luck. You must think I'm cursed, he said. Swear I'll pay you back next time. And again, I waved it off. I was doing fine financially. Lunch was small change. Besides, what's the harm in helping a coworker? But then, next time never came. By the end of the month, Kyle had started joining me every time I grabbed food. If I didn't invite him, he'd hover by my desk. If I did invite him, he'd give me that sheepish grin. Man, I'll get you next time. Next time became a phrase I started to hate. Eventually, Kyle stopped pretending it was an accident. One afternoon, I said I was ordering pizza for myself, just one personal pan. He leaned over the cubicle wall. You didn't ask me if I wanted some, he said, mock offended. I figured you'd bring your own lunch today. He shook his head. Nah, didn't have time. But you're ordering, right? Mind just grabbing me something too? I hesitated, and in that pause he added, Come on, man. Don't make me starve here. He said it loud enough that two other coworkers heard. They chuckled, like it was just a harmless joke. I didn't want to look like a jerk, so I ordered him a pizza too. And that was the moment he knew he had me. Kyle became bolder after that. He stopped saying, I'll pay you back, stopped making excuses. He just expected it. Hey, you doing lunch today? He'd ask. If I said yes, he'd say, cool, grab me a chicken wrap. If I said no, he'd pout, guess I'll starve then. Sometimes he didn't even ask. If we were at a cafe, he'd order confidently, then step back and let me hand over my card. The worst part? He did it in front of others. My other coworkers began to notice the pattern. Some raised eyebrows, some smirked. A few even teased me. Kyle's got himself a sugar daddy, huh? Each joke burned deeper. But the tipping point came one Friday. Payday lunches were a tradition at the office. A group of us would hit the steakhouse a few blocks away, splurge a little to celebrate surviving another 2 weeks. That Friday, a dozen of us went. Kyle tagged along, naturally. When the bill came, the server laid it in the middle of the table. Everyone started throwing in cards and cash. Kyle leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, grinning. I waited. Surely this time, in front of everyone, he'd pay for himself. He didn't. Instead, he nudged the bill toward me. You got this, right? The table went silent. Everyone stared. I felt my face flush hot. I stammered. Kyle, it's like $40. He laughed, waving his hand. You make more than me, man. Don't be stingy. You know I'll get you back. Nobody laughed with him this time. They all looked at me, some with pity, some with judgment. I paid the bill. My hands shook as I signed the receipt. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed the scene over and over. His smug grin, my coworker's stares, the shame boiling inside me. Something had to change. I'm not a confrontational person. I hate arguments, but I also hate being taken for a fool. And Kyle had made me into the office fool. So I started planning. It had to be quiet, subtle. I didn't want to scream or fight. I wanted him to trap himself, to show everyone exactly who he was without me having to say a word. The opportunity came sooner than I expected. Our office manager announced a team lunch potluck for the following week. Everyone had to bring a dish. Everyone. Kyle grinned when the announcement was made. Potlucks are the best, he said. Free food everywhere. And that's when it clicked. The day of the potluck, People came in carrying crock pots, trays, Tupperware full of food. The break room smelled like heaven. Barbecue, pasta salad, chili, homemade cookies. I brought a tray of baked ziti, enough to feed 10 people. Kyle? He brought nothing, not even a bag of chips. Instead, he walked in, clapped his hands together, and said, "Damn, this looks amazing." Then he grabbed a plate and piled it high, laughing, joking, acting like he belonged. And that's when I pulled out my phone. I snapped a picture. Kyle, grinning with a mountain of food, his hands empty of any contribution. I sent it to the office group chat with a caption: "Potluck etiquette? Bring something, take something. Guess someone didn't get the memo." The message blew up instantly. Laughter, memes, gifs. People roasted him in real time. Kyle's face went red. "That's messed up, man," he muttered. "Real messed up." But the damage was done. Everyone saw the truth. After that day, people stopped humoring him. When he tried to forget his wallet, others called him out. When he hinted at me paying, they shut him down. He tried guilt trips, jokes, even fake whining, but nobody played along anymore. The final nail came a week later. Our team went out to lunch again. When the bill came, Kyle sat back, waiting. The server laid the check in front of him this time, almost on purpose. "Separate checks?" she asked. Everyone else said yes. Kyle looked around, panicked. His eyes landed on me. I met his gaze and said, clear enough for the table to hear, "Nah, Kyle's got his own." The silence was deafening. He fumbled for his wallet, face pale. He actually had cash, plenty of it. He just never intended to spend it on himself. He paid, finally, with shaking hands. And nobody at that table ever paid for him again. Looking back, I don't regret paying for him those first few times. Generosity isn't weakness. Helping someone in need is never wrong. But letting someone take advantage, that's on me. The revenge wasn't loud. I didn't scream, didn't fight, didn't insult him. I just held up a mirror and let everyone see him for who he was. And that was enough, because it's nice to pay for your coworker's lunch sometime. But if they do it all the time, that's bad. And now Kyle knows it. Like and subscribe. Share if this happened to you or someone you know.